Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge, Yap, Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time. Hello, yappers. It's time to chat about Black Mirror Season 7, Episode 3, titled Hotel Reverie. In this episode, Hollywood A-list actor Brandy Friday, played by Issa Rae, is thrown into an unusually immersive, high-tech remake of a vintage romantic movie called Hotel Reverie, sponsored by a tech company called Redream. Yeah, so Shalini, what were your overall thoughts?
I think I did end up liking this episode. In the beginning, I was having a hard time getting super into it because I was like, this seems really similar to the premise of a few other Black Mirror episodes. The one, I guess Black Mirror has a pretty consistent theme of uploading your consciousness into a digital world. So the ones I was thinking of were USS Callister, which has another episode this season, White Christmas, where they were cloning themselves into personal assistants that were trapped in a machine. And then also San Junipero, where like when you're old, you get your consciousness uploaded to this haven, basically. So at first I was like, oh, is this just another uploading consciousness episode? I don't know how I feel about this. But once I kind of just accepted that it's an episode about the human story rather than the technology, I ended up really liking it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally know what you mean about like the uploading consciousness thing. I was like, this is starting to be a bit like every episode feels like, oh, what if we uploaded your consciousness and this was the environment? So I totally get that. What stood out to me is actually, I don't know if you read this book, but it's called Heir Apparent. It was a YA fiction back in the day, probably featured at those Scholastic book fairs. But yeah, it's called Heir Apparent by Vivian Van Velde. The whole premise of the book is that there's this girl who goes to this new video game, arcade, whatever, and she is into this game, and part of the game is you are fully immersed into this environment, and the same thing happens where some like event, like tech dysfunction event happens where she is forced to play this game to the conclusion. Like that's kind of what this reminded me of. So in terms of novelty, like tech novelty for Black Mirror, I don't think this was really that out there. It did really feel similar and very familiar. So, but I did enjoy it. I will say.
Okay. You describing that book also reminds me, I think that was also the premise of Spy Kids 3. They are in a video game where they put something or log in somehow, and then they're transported into this virtual game.
Yeah, I think trapped in a video game has to be some sort of trope because I guess this was slightly different in that you aren't trapped in a video game or trapped in a movie, but it's still, same deal.
Similar. All right, let's get into the episode. So, the episode starts, Awkwafina, our girl Awkwafina. Yeah, I was so excited to see her. And actually, before we saw her, we heard her voice. And I was watching with my sister. My sister and I both thought it was Rashida Jones's voice. And we were like, is she in another episode? But then it was Awkwafina. Which is interesting.
Weird.
Yeah, but listeners, go back and listen to the beginning of that episode when you just hear Awkwafina talking to the head of Keyworth Pictures before you see her, and let me know if you think it sounds like Rashida Jones. Anyway, so Awkwafina is explaining this new technology called Redream to this lady who's the head of Keyworth Pictures, and then we don't really get an explanation of exactly what it is there, but She's basically like, this is going to revolutionize movies and it's going to save you a bunch of money. Okay, so that's kind of the hook that we get. Then Brandy Friday switches to her, played by Issa Rae, another favorite. She's kind of talking to her agent. She's this A-list actress who doesn't want to be in sidekick roles and sad films anymore. And then there's kind of this serendipitous moment when she's like, I would love to do a movie like Hotel Reverie. And then the studio is like, we should redo Hotel Reverie. And then they end up going into collaboration.
Wait, did you talk about how they were like any of the Ryans? Like
Oh,
they want any of the Ryans.
that was funny. I also expected them to say like any of the Chris's because there's so many of those.
Yeah. And also Brandy Friday did have a movie with one of the
With
Ryans.
Yeah, that was funny. Did they show his face?
They showed the poster with I think it was
Did
Ryan
it look like Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
Gosling.
Oh,
No.
we're doing it.
We're doing it. I don't remember it, but it doesn't matter. And I
Okay.
think that's the point.
Okay. Yeah, very true. All we remember is Brandy.
Brandy.
All right, so after she agrees to be in the movie, they send her this orientation packet, which includes a USB drive, but she doesn't see it, and it falls on the floor.
Okay, first of all, if someone sends you a piece of mail and something clatters to the floor. Also, why don't they have a like sheet of paper that's like, in this packet, you will see 1 DVD of Hotel Reverie, 2 an information packet with on a USB-C drive that explains all of the things that you need to know about this innovative new technology.
Seriously, like what kind of hack job production is this? To Brandy's credit, she was on the phone with her agent at the time, so maybe she didn't hear the thing fall out. But yeah, like why didn't she have to sign a liability waiver about this new technology that's clearly a life risk?
Yeah, exactly. That she had risk of dying. Also, how come she had no questions about you will need to be available on this one day for 3 hours, and that's it?
And that's it? Yeah, what's going on? Also, if it's saving the studio a bunch of money, does that mean the actress is getting paid that much less money? Because why would she agree to that either? Or maybe it's kind of an in-between thing. I don't know.
Also, well, I guess this is kind of skipping forward, but coming back to the point of how much she's actually paid, she was stuck in that simulation for 2 months in her time. Does that mean she gets paid more?
Right. Does she get paid for how much time her body spends or how much time her mind spends on the movie?
Yeah. Also, I kind of disagree with the fact that I think they had made a claim that was like, oh, there's going to be 6 hours pass by per second or something in the movie, and like that's how it relates to real life. But the way that they were talking was real time, so I was also confused about how that worked.
Oh, well, I think we see everything in 1 second per second. Okay, I'm going to use Severance language here, but the Innie Brandy was experiencing really fast time, but she felt like it was normal time, right? Or was that your question?
I think it was like, okay, so at the beginning, we definitely experienced things as 1 second per second, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then when Brandy got stuck, she was experiencing things as 6 hours per 1 second, right?
I think it was that 6 hours of Brandy time is 1 second of real life time. But she was still experiencing it as 6 hours.
But then how did that work with the communication? Like
I think that was only when it was broken. So it breaks and then it sends it into this loop where time is going so much faster inside the movie than on the outside.
Okay.
Because
That's
then
fair.
you also, when it gets fixed, you also see the sun slowing down, and then in that diagram.
Okay, wait. Then it gets a pass.
Okay,
but then, my second question, this also might be skipping a little bit forward, is this is like a 30-minute movie then. You know what I mean?
Wait, why?
Because I feel like we saw like all the scenes happening
Oh,
like as they were doing it. So like there were no scenes that were technically cut.
yeah.
So like
I think they did have a clock at the top of the feed, and it did I think it was something like 1 hour 20 minutes or something towards the end of the movie.
okay. So there
Yeah.
are some scenes that were cut.
Yeah, I guess they just didn't show them all to us, but Ruchi on the case.
Yeah, I was like, all of the timeline has to work out. Like,
Okay, my question about the USB, going back to the USB stick, is would anything have changed if she did watch what was on the USB drive? Like,
yes, so true.
it was clearly like a big plot point, but she might have just agreed to it anyway, and like everything would have still gone wrong, right?
That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, the USB stick didn't really matter. I mean, maybe she would have tried to play the piano, or maybe in the USB stick, they're like, it's really important that you get every single aspect of your role correctly. This means you will need to know how to play Clair de Lune on the piano,
Mm-hmm.
like, need to memorize all of the different beats, and like, you will need to know your lines down pat for these 90 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Maybe that would have fixed minor aspects of this fiasco. Okay, so after she watches the film in her own play, she comes into the studio. They don't really explain to her what's going on. They're just like, here, like hook up to this thing and everything will be fine. And they hook her up and she's transported into the movie. I also was wondering, like, how much time do you think has passed? Has she memorized her lines for the whole movie already?
Okay, yeah, I definitely felt anxiety when they were like, you know your lines, right? And she was like, sure. I was like, this bitch don't know her line. I mean, and then when they were like, okay, well, we're gonna put you in this movie, and like, hey, guess what? It's gonna be one take.
Yeah,
No.
one take. That was crazy. Okay, I wrote this down as my as some of my overall thoughts, but I do not understand the draw of Redream for either the producer or the actor or the viewer. You're filming everything in one take, which is incredibly risky and probably not realistic. It seems difficult. Also, what's the value for the viewer in having everything about an old movie be exactly the same except for the main person? Like,
Yeah,
what? I don't understand what the point of this is.
yeah. Spoken like a true MBA grad, honestly. What is
What is the value prop?
okay, I totally see this from the actor's perspective, just like in terms of how they get paid. Because I agree. I think if they're trying to redo an entire movie in 90 minutes or however long it takes to actually watch the movie, then yeah, they better get paid mucho money or some multiplier times whatever they normally get paid for doing a feature film, because it's so much less time, but it's like the same amount of viewers and
Yeah.
marketing and the same advertising that they would do for a normal movie. And yeah,
Totally.
from the viewer perspective, do I want to see a Hotel Reverie featuring Issa Rae, featuring Awkwafina, featuring Ryan Reynolds? Because you could do that, right? You could basically take whatever movie you really wanted and kind of like plug and play all of
Yeah.
the different actors and actresses as you wanted.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that reminds me in the beginning, the head of Keyworth Pictures, when she's learning about the Redream technology, and she's like, "Oh, is this just a deep fake thing?" I thought that might be a nod to Joan is Awful from season 6,
Oh,
where that is the deep fake thing, and they're just using the likeness of famous actors and using the rights and just producing a bunch of stuff.
I think it might be because at the very end of the episode, they did mention Streamberry, which is Netflix Black Mirror
Oh.
universe. That was also the same streaming service that was in Joan is Awful.
Oh, nice. Okay. So she's transported into the movie. She starts acting. Everybody in the world, the extras and stuff, don't know they're in a movie.
Yeah.
Um, Brandy's acting in this movie, not Issa's acting. Brandy's acting is so bad. You constantly look confused and
Yeah.
surprised, and the way you're saying things are not anything like what should be in this movie. She's like, yeah. Like this movie's probably from the 40s or something.
Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And okay, here's where I think the USB stick could have helped. Where she's like, oh, I have to be in character the entire time. I need to pull an Owen Cooper acting as Jamie Miller in Adolescence and be in it the entire time.
Right.
And I don't think she was made aware of that. She broke character quite a lot.
Totally. And then I was like, how much money is this going to take in post to fix? How are they going to do this? How
Yeah.
much can they possibly edit to make this a movie that makes sense?
At the same time, I died when she started playing chopstick. It was so funny because I also feel like that's exactly how I would have acted in that situation where they're like, okay, Ruchi, you got this. Now go to the piano and play Claire de Lune. I would have been like, oh. They would have been like, dear.
Oh, no. I thought the way Awkwafina delivered that line, like, oh no, she's playing chopsticks, was really funny.
Yeah, actually, I think what I really appreciated about this episode is that both Issa Rae and Awkwafina, I feel, are such strong actresses that they can like really toe this line of being so funny, but also really serious in the same breath. They can just do it. So I really appreciated the casting.
It was great. Okay, so the Claire de Lune scene is where things start to go awry. So Brandy obviously does not know how to play Claire de Lune on the piano. This causes a chain reaction where the movie starts diverging from the original script. Clara doesn't go outside with Brandy's character, which is a crucial part of the movie. And then somehow, instead of the old French lady dying from poison, her dog dies of poison.
Yeah.
And then Brandy calls Clara's character by her real name, Dorothy, and then Clara starts to remember Dorothy's memories, etc. Then this causes a bug in the software, and Brandy gets trapped in the simulation and can't leave until she cues the end credits by reciting the last line of the film. So things are still okay, but the people on the outside are minorly panicking because now they're like, okay, we need to figure out how to get this movie back on track.
And can we just say that fucking guy who had coffee next to his computer? I saw that coming from a mile away.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well that hasn't even happened yet, but yeah, that was so irresponsible. Also, why is that allowed? Like what's going on? Why
Yeah.
was this allowed to happen? Why was this very high profile A-list actor allowed to be a part of this technology that clearly hasn't been tested or foolproofed or anything QA'd at all? Yeah, just so many issues.
Yeah. But also, this is also kind of skipping ahead, but shout out to that one girl who knew the movie by heart, scene by scene, to like rewrite the story in a way that would get the plot back on track with the same ending.
Totally.
Shout out to that girl.
Yeah.
And a high shout out to the guy who poured coffee on his machine.
Yeah, seriously. That was very impressive of her. And then she tried to ask for writing credits or something, and then everyone was like, ugh.
I was like, yeah, give this girl a writing credit.
She's literally saving your movie. It's about to kill like one of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Yeah, seriously, the least you could do is give her a writing credit.
So like you said, someone spills coffee on one of the computers, and Brandy is actually trapped for real, and the whole movie world freezes. So this is when things actually go to shit.
Yeah.
My question to you, Ruchi, why didn't Clara also freeze?
Oh, okay. The understanding is that because Brandy called Clara Dorothy, that like triggered Clara knowing that she wasn't just an AI in this world. She was actually a part of something else. And so that triggered the echoes, what they called it, right? So like that's
Oh.
probably why she didn't freeze. And that's also why she started exploring the world bit more. And then when she actually went out past the fringe of the AI world, she was able to get all of the information about Dorothy, like with her character. But I think the meta question here is, why was there information about Dorothy beyond the Clara role that actually went into this universe? I think that's what I was
Yeah,
confused about.
I was gonna ask you the same thing. How do you explain this scientifically? I could see them make a case for if she's just ingesting information about Dorothy that was in the cloud or something. I feel like Black Mirror does that sometimes where they're like, "Oh, hack into the mainframe. Now we have access to the whole world." Um, but how would she have access to her private memories where it's clearly revealed that she was in love with a woman during the filming of the original Hotel Reverie? How?
Yeah, I think that if I had to guess a way that makes sense from a tech perspective, I think the way that they built the actual AI world and actually had the feeling behind the ways that the lines were delivered, I think is they may have fed in a little bit more information about like, oh, this is what this person was going through at the time. And like, actually, here's just a general data dump of like who this person is and why she chose to do Clara in this way. That's the only tech explanation that I can think of. But as far as Clara really knowing like what was going on in Dorothy's mind, I think that was kind of just exposition for the audience to kind of
Yeah.
understand like, oh, like Dorothy Chambers, like she actually was gay. She had feelings for this crew member, and then like back then it wasn't really kosher. So like that's why she ended her life.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was exposition for the audience, which wasn't very well explained by the science, but that's fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
There was one line that I also really loved. Right before Brandy Friday plays the piano, Clara has a line that's like, "This is the gayest I've ever felt."
Oh, yeah, you're right. I
Yeah,
forgot about that. Ooh, good
I
one.
remember catching that line and being like, "Heyo."
Because at that point, did we even know that there was anything gay going on?
No, but I mean, the gay part was like that Brandy Friday was playing the lead.
Right, right, right. Okay, so the world freezes. Clara finds out about Dorothy's past, comes back. They share a nice moment, and then you just see this beautiful love montage of them falling in love and making drinks at the bar and messing with all the extras. I loved what, yeah, when she was just like, made them hold hands.
Now I realize that she made two male characters hold hands.
I love it. And when they wake up, they'll be like, oh, oh, oh.
Should we kiss?
And do they say how long they spend in there?
Yeah, 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, I guess being isolated with just one other person that you're already into for 2 months, that's quite a solid start to a relationship. I can see why they fell in love.
Yeah.
Um,
After they were stuck together for 2 months and were like obviously in love, I was like, oh my God, is Brandy going to say the line to her mistakenly and then end the simulation, like trigger the credits and end the simulation? And then she's just like heartbroken because she never got to say goodbye.
oh, I had a different thought. I was wondering if Brandy was going to choose to stay in the virtual world, a
Yeah.
la Avatar, the blue people Avatar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I also thought that that might happen. But to Brandy's credit, when the simulation came back online, she like went with it. She was like, okay, now I have to do the next scene. Here we go.
I know. After she lost the love of her life in a second, that
Yeah.
was crazy.
Was that?
So sad. That was so heartbreaking. And then, yeah, she just has to get on with the movie. But so much has changed.
She forgot her lines.
She forgot her lines. Understandable. 2 months later, she doesn't know what's going on.
She cramped, first of all, the first time around. So, cramped.
So what ends up happening is that the end of the movie gets all messed up. Clara ends up getting shot, and Brandy says the final line of the film as she cradles Clara, who has died. And that's how she escapes back into the real world.
What did you think about the ending of the movie? Not the episode, the movie.
It was hard, I think, for me to understand how good or bad the movie would be, just because, like, I was like, what's happening? And I was so consumed by what Brandy was going through. But I mean, it seemed like people loved it. The head of Keyworth Pictures was crying, not a dry eye in the house.
I guess the ending of the movie was more emotional, but it was also a lot more violent than the original. It was hard to tell how a movie like that would actually do in the real world. Like, imagine if Casablanca was revamped with, let's take one of the Ryans as the lead, and like maybe it was a gay story of Casablanca instead of like what we know today. And it ended with a lot more violence. I think I would be like, okay, so this isn't Casablanca.
That's true.
Like, I think if I were a huge fan of Casablanca, which admittedly I have no feelings towards, but if I were to watch Casablanca and be like, oh my God, I'm so excited that like, Ryan Reynolds is gonna be the star of this and it's kind of gonna be like a gay story now. And then I watched it, I would be like, what the? I would be really upset, honestly.
What the hell? This is not Casablanca.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess representation, like telling a different viewpoint, but also then it's not Casablanca.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Especially if one of them dies.
yeah, exactly. So I guess it is interesting that they were like, yeah, and then this movie did really, really well.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Okay, well, that's it for the synopsis. I had a few other things I wanted to talk about, just little fun facts.
Okay, me too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I really loved how Brandy Friday's manager was playing Balatro when he got the
What is Balatro?
Okay. Balatro is 2024 Indie Game of the Year, and it has taken our acapella group by a storm.
Oh, okay.
Well, I play on mobile. I think you can play on Steam and whatever, but I play on mobile, and it's been a great subway game for me. Basically, you try to play poker hands, and you have to try and hit a point limit, and every round that point limit gets higher and higher. But you have these things called jokers, which kind of alter your deck and alter the ways that you get points so that you can hit that higher and higher.
Okay, and when is he playing that?
When he gets the call, I think from the studio, and then calls Brandy to be like, "Oh, you got the part they want you for."
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so I thought that was really fun that they kind of incorporated that. And so I did a little bit of research. I was like, why would they show Balatro so many times? That's so random. Charlie Brooker, the creator, had previously expressed his addiction to the game after its release and cautioned that it would lead to a major loss of productivity once it was released on mobile platforms.
Damn.
I think Charlie himself was like, I love Balatro.
That's the best reason for them to have included it.
Yeah.
Just an Easter egg for himself.
Yeah. And it's quite funny because our friend Michael in acapella, he convinced our friend Ariel to play Balatro because it's $10 or something on mobile. And she was like, $10? Like, I don't want to play for $10. And he was like, Ariel, I will give you $10 if you have less than 10 hours after a week of having this game. And then she was like, okay, I'll take that deal. So she gets it. And then literally less than 24 hours later, she pings me and Michael being like, I don't think I'm gonna need those $10.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So I can see
Wow.
Charlie Brooker being that way.
Okay. So I had two things. One, so reverie means, this is just a fun fact. Reverie means dream in French, and the company's name was Redream. So it was like the first movie they were making was also Dream.
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
And then the second fun fact is that the music that they played at the very end of the episode is another WC piece, so not Claire de Lune, but that WC piece is also called Reverie.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Wow.
I learned both on the piano in high school.
Wow. Okay, so if you were cast in Hotel Reverie, you would have no problemo playing Claire de Lune.
Well, it's been about 13 years. So I'd probably still have some problem.
You would not be playing chopsticks, is my point.
True. I could play something other than chopsticks, but
Yeah.
I could play like the first 10 seconds of Claire de Lune probably before I made a mistake.
Okay. That's 10 seconds more than me. Okay, question for you. Let's say that this technology, Redream, existed in today's world. What movie would you want to be trapped in, and what character would you play?
I think I would want something in a fun location. Like I'm thinking location first. So what location do I want to be in? For movies, I would say maybe Forgetting Sarah Marshall or something because I love Hawaii.
Right. A class.
My dog's name is Maui. Um, maybe Forgetting Sarah Marshall. What role would I want to play? Maybe Mila Kunis's role, like the
Oh,
girl that works at the hotel. She seemed like she had a pretty happy life.
what about other Hawaii-based movies like Lilo and Stitch,
Oh, Lilo and Stitch would be fun.
50 First Dates?
Okay, I have not actually seen that movie, I don't think. I know it's
Oh,
Adam
okay.
Sandler though, but he annoys me, so I wouldn't want to play the girl. Wait, doesn't the girl have memory issues in that
Yeah.
movie? Okay,
Wait,
I don't want to be her.
Adam Sandler and make it not annoying.
True, maybe. But yeah, I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall because I also love Jason Segel, so I'm down to be trapped with him.
Oh, okay, okay. That's fair. Um, yes, I thought about this myself, and
Uh-huh.
I ended up picking Amelie. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, but that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
Really? Okay, well, let me talk about why I wanted Amelie, and then I'm
Okay.
curious as to what you would think. Yeah, so I picked Amelie because, in all transparency, I asked ChatGPT. I was like, given what you know about me, what movie do you think I would love to be trapped in? And it was like, I think you would be really great at Knives Out. And I was like, Knives Out?
Excuse me, are you trying to get me murdered?
Exactly. And then it suggested a couple more movies, and it's Amelie was the last suggestion. I was like, I actually would love to be a part of Amelie, and I would play Amelie because I think she's not like forced to be like super romantic with anyone. Like there is a love interest, but the primary point of Amelie is that she has like a weak heart. So she's kind of like been kept away for the most part her whole life. And so in the movie she's like, you know what? I just like want to be a really good person and I want to like help all my neighbors and I want to build community. And like I really identify with that mission. It felt very like not stressful, like the environment that she lives in.
Oh, cute. Okay. I love it.
What movie did you think I was gonna say?
I don't know. I just did not expect because I haven't seen Amelie, to be fair, but I thought for some reason that it was a really depressing movie, but maybe it's not. Okay. I guess it's not.
No. It's like it's a very like feel good movie.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. I don't know why I thought it was depressing, but so that's why I was like, why would she choose such a sad movie?
Oh, no. Yeah, I would not. I would not.
Also, would you be stuck in France? Would you have to eat French food?
Oh, true. Okay, you know, if I were stuck in a movie, like I'd probably, listeners, for context, I'm vegetarian and French food is canonically not very vegetarian friendly. But if I were stuck in this movie, I would make an exception and I would probably just like eat whatever French food was offered to me.
That's fair.
Should we rate the episode? I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really appreciated that the ending of the episode, not the movie, was very optimistic. I like feeling good after I watch TV shows, I've noticed. So I put a lot of weight on that. Yeah, I think it was a good watch. So I'll give it an 8. But I think the reason it's not 9 or a 10 is like we talked about before, I don't think it was a very novel idea.
Hmm.
It wasn't rooted in technology. We've seen this trope again and again. So I thought it was a good watch, but I don't think it was, yeah, crazy anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, did you think the ending was optimistic? I thought it was sad.
I think like the ending of the episode was optimistic because at least she got to have that simulation of Clara,
Oh, yeah, true, true, true.
yeah, with the phone call and everything. So I was like, oh, that's kind of nice that even though they were like, yeah, just move on, like revert to the save state just to like get her out of there, they still acknowledged after their time pressure was over that like she really felt this connection towards Clara slash Dorothy. And then they gave her this phone to kind of, interact with the simulated Dorothy, not Clara, as a
Yeah, that is true.
yeah.
Cute. Okay, I totally forgot about that. I thought the episode ended when she's in the car on her way to the red carpet and she sees the billboard for the movie. But yeah, okay, cute. I would give it maybe a 7 out of 10. I did like it, but I think this is probably my least favorite season 7 episode so far.
Hmm.
Just because, yeah, like exactly what you said, the trope has been done before. It was just kind of a different human story, but for the same technology trope. Um, but that being said, I still really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Wow, even more so than Common People. I feel like Common People was my worst so far just because it felt like so dark. But
Mm,
I felt it was like very canonically Black Mirror, so.
yeah, I think the reason I rated it lower than, or I guess I should say, the reason I rated Common People higher is because that concept to me was so novel and I was like, oh shit. It was like way more oh shit than this episode was.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Wow, Shalini, the concept of raising prices is novel to you. Not to
What world am I living in?
Cool. All
All
right.
right.
Looking forward to episode 4.
Woo!
Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging.